Okay, as we begin to wind down, let me ask, and I would ask every single one of you who are on the panel of this conversation this morning the same question. Should we be a lot less liberal, Dr. Jinadu, in terms of contact tracing and surveillance? Should we be a lot less liberal with those whom we're tracing? And I'd like to start with you.
That's a difficult question. There's human rights, there are public health laws, and we have not been liberal. There was concerted effort to get hold of the diplomat that left and switched off his phone. ECOWAS was involved. You must recall that one of the nurses left for Enugu and came back. Once we lose track, there are red alerts to get you back. But this diplomat just did not respond. So there's no such thing as liberal surveillance. Surveillance has been very active.
Some people think that even, you just confirmed it now that he switched off his phones, and they're just thinking, yes, we were talking about Mr. Patrick Sawyer who came into Nigeria, and this man is here with us, and he's going about trying to, or spreading this virus. Is there anything that can be done legally to him?
I'm not a lawyer.
Okay.
You're not a lawyer.
And therefore, I cannot speak about the legal actions that can be taken.
Okay, Dr. Banjo, let's leave law alone. We're talking public health here. Where one man's rights on the legal side of it, where it starts is where someone else's end, or where that one person's end is where someone else's starts. Your right to be able to move around does not include infecting me with Ebola. You have no such right. So in terms of protection, where is the effort of the government and the medical profession? Is it protection of the freedom of one individual to move around, or protection of an individual who must not be infected?
Maybe what we don't see quite easily is how complex this is. Because when you talk about that, then you begin to talk about a whole load of infectious diseases. Why should a man with tuberculosis be walking around? Why shouldn't we lock him up? He can cough in the bus. So why shouldn't we lock him up? So then how many people are we going to start locking up because they take heal? So where you start from is not to begin to do those kind of things. It's to get people to be educated, informed enough to cooperate with you. And we have to be strategic about that. So for instance, when you were talking also earlier, I look at the Nancy Wright Bowl, Ken Bradley in the US. Nancy Wright Bowl didn't come out to address the press. She chose not to. But I'm sure they went through the same process with Kent, and he said, yes, I would, and did that. And that same process is what you go through also with Nigeria, to try to get people to come out and speak, tell you the experience. That again breaks down this level of uncooperation, in which case you won't have to start locking people up. Because if you lock people up also, some people will say, oh, no, I don't want to be locked up. I have a very important meeting next week. If they lock me up or whatever, I have this thing. And then they start not cooperating, which is happening in Liberia also. People don't want this quarantine. And then they start all kinds of new gimmicks. So you want to avoid that as much as possible and start off with information. And then hopefully you won't need the extreme measures yet.
All right, we need to close now. What's your message to those that are likely to use the response team that the NMA has put together? What will be your final word to them? And those who may not use it but may know somebody that may need to use it?
Okay. The message is the response team works on awareness campaign. We'll try to, to give people the right information, because there are a lot of misinformation going around, and then we desensitize people that, like we said, it's not a death sentence. People should be able to come forward like any other disease, that this thing can be managed and then we'll have, everybody, each citizen, we are responsible for the health, not only government. We are responsible for our health. So we are passing on that message of responsibility, and then it's not a death sentence. Don't stigmatize anybody that has been proven or has contacts. Like now, we have a lot of contacts in Port Harcourt, might spread to anywhere. So we desensitize people from issues of stigmatization, and then be responsible. And then when you come to the treatment center, it's safe, it can be managed.
Okay.
And that's
all right.
those are the messages.
Dr. Jinadu, final word, and I'd like you to use it to focus on, are we putting enough into this?
The efforts of the federal government and the Lagos state government in containing Ebola is unprecedented. They have enjoyed the support of partners, the WHO, the CDC, Doctors Without Borders, and this is one moment every Nigerian should stand proud. However, the most important is early reporting. Once any individual on that surveillance list or anybody who knows he has had any contact with an Ebola patient, once that person comes down with a fever, vomiting, diarrhea, sore throat, he should send out the alert. It helps him because his survival rate increases multiple folds, and then he is protecting his family, friends, and loved ones.
Okay. Your final word?
I just add to what was said, which is to say, and you can report your friend or family member should in case he decides not to cooperate. In this case, that would be very good of you.
Okay, all right. On that note, we want to say thank you very much, Dr. Odubanjo, who is Vice Chairman, Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria, Lagos State, Dr. Toyin Idowu, Secretary of NMA and a member of the Ebola response team set up by the NMA, and also Dr. Yohande Jinadu, who's the Medical Director, Federal Medical Center in Butameta. Thank you very much for coming.
Our pleasure.